So I recently did a series of tier lists and it got mostly mixed reviews. Some people enjoyed the bold approach that I took to rankings, others found it confusing, while others outright rejected it. So in this video, I will explain why I am right and everyone else is wrong, why my tier lists differ from others that you might have watched, and why I feel like they are trash content in the first place. First things first is I interact with the game in the way most normal people do, and I mean normal people by the majority of people. I am a 34-year-old father of a 5-year-old and a dutiful husband. I have a house, a dog, and a full-time job. YouTube, streaming, and everything else is secondary to just about literally everything else in my life. Not to say that I'm not appreciative or proud of what we have built here, but any revenue I get from this gets funneled back into the community in one way or another, and it would need to be magnitudes greater for me to make any invasive changes to my lifestyle. That being said, most gamers are this way. Guild Wars 2 has anywhere from 100 to 300,000 players at any given time, multiple millions of copies sold, and overall the game is fairly healthy population-wise across its two servers. The two servers part here is key. We have the North American side and the European side, and while you're not region locked to that area, you can choose to play on either one. The vast majority of people that are active and the dedicated players are on EU. I, on the other hand, am not. The NA and EU divide has been fairly big in the game's history, where EU typically has a more active in-game LFG, with its main issue being kill-proof requirements, more so than anything else. North America, on the other hand, typically has more Discord-oriented communities, and the LFG is much scarcer. However, they typically are less strict on kill-proof requirements. I say this because these differences will directly impact on how you feel about different content types. I did training raids on EU, for instance, a few months ago, and it was insane how good your average no experience player was. And realistically, I hadn't had too many issues with North America either in terms of pug groups. In fact, I did join a Wing 8 experienced KP required group without ever doing it and one-shot every boss despite being given the bare minimum of explanations of the encounters. I say that to say this: EU and NA are different, and even inside of these two servers, the community culture is also further divided between LFG and the pug groups and private statics and Discord groups. The way I play the game is like the majority. I log on and I look at the often disappointing and empty LFG tab, and the players that I play with are players found through this barren wasteland of a user interface. And the builds that I like to play or that I feel work well have that criteria in mind. Rarely do I see an absolute animal joining from a random LFG pug. Sometimes you see it, but the vast majority of times you will get somebody who is mediocre at best and at worst a complete shitter. This is expounded by the fact that if I see somebody break 40k DPS in a raid encounter, I am literally shocked. Like I saw a unicorn in real life levels of shock. You can ask Hellmasker. I randomly pugged into his group, and when he hit 40k on Condi Firebrand, I was like, dude, that's insane.
I was in a Wing 4, just a random Wing 4 clear, and Silhouette joined, and I did like 41k on Mo, and he goes, what do you say, is Firebrand overpowered? Or is Firebrand, something like that. And I was like, in squad chat, and I was like, in my hands, maybe a little. And he literally didn't know it was me the whole time. We went all the way through that raid wing. Karen, Mo, Sam, Damos, me just cooking on Firebrand.
And the thing is, I didn't even know it was him until I joined his stream later and he made fun of me. But we're not talking about that. Let's talk about builds now and why I rank them the way that I do. Builds at their core are solutions. They are answers to a problem. Sometimes that problem is, how do I map complete as fast as possible? Sometimes that problem is, how do I kill this boss? Sometimes it's how do I keep my team alive or mitigate this or that mechanic. The builds in Guild Wars 2 are broad enough that almost everything can work given a high enough level of player skill. The most complex forced movement, auto attack counting, animation canceling build can work given a high enough player mastery. The problem is that mastery is quite rare from my experience. So how I judge DPS builds are based around the problems that they intend to solve and throw player skill out the window, because I don't know how good or bad you are, and the chances are you're more bad than you are good, at least a little bit, but maybe more if you play on NA. If you're on EU, you might be a little better. Typically, range DPS scores higher than melee focused builds as a whole. Power builds are better for bursty encounters, Condi builds are better for phase-free encounters, and simplicity overshadows everything. Low intensity builds are simplicity brought to the extreme. And while I feel like these builds can be good in their own right, I brought up Pistol Deadeye as an example in my tier list. For the most part, they are builds that are designed in a way to get the maximum output with minimum input. Creators like Mazel, Mr. Mystic, and others in the community excel at putting builds like this together. While I don't really know their distinct methodology besides trial and error, it largely follows the Pareto distribution and law of diminishing returns. Basically 20% of the effort for 80% of the results. For me, high APM builds are subpar to lower APM builds as a whole. Since now we are not evaluating the class, we are evaluating player's skill. Any build that relies on resource management is lower depending on what resource it is. One of the biggest criticisms from my evaluation was Boon Chronomancer. The thing is with Boon Chrono is that you need to generate clones, and with power creep upkeeping boons through phases or when dealing with trash mobs, it is a huge pain in the ass, making it subpar in places like fractals, that the vast majority of fractals are not a singular boss, so you're gonna have to deal with trash. Running Deep Stone with a Boon Chrono basically ensures that you're going to be missing your primary boons 80% of the entire fractal. Additionally, you have no real means of generating your boons during non-fight encounters, so if you're an Alacrity DPS, good luck with the Dwarven Light puzzle room because you're going to be doing it with no cooldown reduction. Classes that have a unique thing that they provide typically score higher. You saw this with Power Scrapper and Boon Scrapper. Super Speed is a gamer's best friend and nobody pumps more of it than the Scrapper. I think I've kind of made my point on the DPS and Boon DPS front. So now let's talk about healers. My heal tier list is arguably as honest as you can get. But before we discuss actual builds, I want to discuss a couple of things first. First off, what are we using these builds for? What problem are they solving? Well, they are solving healing. And where do you need healing? Typically, instanced content. You are rarely going to see a heal build being used in the open world unless you are pairing it up with one or two of your friends from school or whatever, or your significant other, and you want to do some kind of duo play. These builds are kind of ass in terms of solo play. They kill things insanely slow, so you're going to be playing with a group. I personally love playing heal rev in the open world when I'm squatted up because I can literally just leech events with it, but that's a topic for another video. So healers are designed to be played in group content, primarily instance content, so raids, fractals, and strikes. Here's the thing, long gone are the days of these content types being actually challenging content. A big part of my raid trainings were exposing these fights to people who have never done them before, had no experience, or had only seen them a handful of times. And guess what? These fights in normal mode, and even in most cases CM mode, fold like a wet paper towel. Power creep has made these encounters insanely easy to the point that almost any group that is properly geared and built and reasonably proficient at how to play any build can complete them. There are a few encounters out there that require special considerations, like Matthias, where you need a bubble, or Adina, where you would want a bubble, or stability at some portion of the fight. In fractals, Fractals, Stability, Aegis, and Reflex at the proper time turns Arc into a golem at the end of Shattered Observatory if he survives that long. But these are mechanics, and I'll talk more about mechanics a little bit later. Every single class available, Boon DPS, Full DPS, and Heal Support, can fully function in any content this game has to offer, point blank, period. And if you say, legendary mode, let me say this, fuck legendary challenge mode. I have kids, I got bills, I got a wife. The vast majority of players have better to do than to grind legendary challenge mode, and that's a fact. That is why nobody engages with legendary challenge modes. Re-railing, there are classes that exist that are overloaded, not to be confused with overpowered. And what I mean by this is that overpowered often is used to say that a class has big number values, high healing values, high DPS or condies. Overloaded means that the core kit has more built into it than other ones. So let me ask you this. If you only had weapon skills and your core class kit, no utilities or elite skills, which class is better, the Firebrand or the Luminary? Now, the Luminary can still provide its primary boon, Alacrity, alongside with core boons without using its utility skills, while Firebrand requires its mantra, its heal skill, and maybe even its elite skill to function properly. So now I'll ask, what is better, Firebrand tomes or Luminary class specific utilities? So with that, if you have a Guardian who joins your group and you have the option of having them play either the Luminary or the Firebrand with the identical skill level, what brings more to the table? For me, that answer is clear. Let's compare Heal Scourge the same way. Healbinger brings absolutely nothing to the table. Heal Ritualist is a little bit closer, but still subpar in terms of what the Heal Scourge core kit provides. Heal Bladesworn or Heal Berserker versus Heal Baragon, it's the same thing. Like, it's not even close in that regard. So if I intentionally play a build that is subpar, what is that called? That's called griefing, right? Just so we're clear, it's called griefing, right? But the real thing that makes me laugh is that all of this talk and build this and build that is for encounters that are solved. These encounters are so brain dead easy, it is insane. Like, the idea that people are going to get worked up about what heal build is better or worse on IBS 5 or EOD strikes on normal mode, anything else. Like, the vast majority of encounters at this point are 100%, make that 1000% mechanics based as opposed to numbers based. And if you really want to sweat, you aren't going to be getting advice from tier lists, which leads me to my last point of the video, why tier lists are trash content in the first place. It is pretty simple, because all of the things that I've mentioned, they are basically personal thoughts on how you feel the classes are in the content that you play. Maybe your Heal Luminary is really good and fun in IBS, sure, whatever. Or maybe you love Heal Rit when you're working through Wing 4, and that's great. I'm glad you're really loving it. But tier lists are not actually valuable. They are the sitcoms of game content. The rankings don't matter. The story doesn't need to make sense. You just put whatever you want out there that you feel like. I hope you find them entertaining, and if my opinion differed from yours, then great. Your tier list would look different. Maybe you're an NG main or an LE main, and you could make this class do something I'm not familiar with. And that's the whole point. It's an opinion. It's subjective. It is too subjective to be valuable. S tier builds may be subpar on certain encounters, whereas B tier builds might be the best for a specific role. Without the nuance of the encounter or the game mode or what your squad looks like or what your skill level is, it might fit in fine, or you might prefer something else. That's the whole fun of this game. It is build craft and it is team craft. And realistically, as I stated earlier, I am not the guy to give objective data. There are plenty of great creators out there who go out of their way to show the math, to show the rotation, to alter the rotation, and so on. Remagic comes to mind here. He's an excellent creator and he's excellent at compiling these things. And CM speedrunners, LCM players, they do not give a shit about what I think is an S tier build, because they already know what is an S tier build for what they are trying to accomplish. The reason why tier lists are made is because they are easy to make. It takes little to no editing. There is little to no scripting. Just rip it and ship it. Slop in its most refined form. And frankly, I am better than that. So with that, Let me know what tier list I should make next, and if you watch the video, I appreciate it. I am an Arenanet partner still, surprisingly. Maybe not after I post this video, but we'll see. I hope that you had a wonderful new year. Like, sub, comment, hit the referral link. Big thanks to all of my subscribers. A shout out to AK for the super thanks on the last video, and a big shout out to all of my members who support the channel. Your support means more to me than you know. Thanks again, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.